All right, I lied. I said that the Skylar Thompson NFL draft pick recap video was going to be the last video that I recorded on Saturday, but hey, here I am recording the Miami Dolphins NFL draft grades for the 2022 NFL draft. But hey, I'm not going to release it until Sunday, but I wanted to be upfront and honest with you because that's the kind of person I am. And I didn't want anyone out there thinking, why the hell doesn't this guy change shirts? He just wears the same damn thing every day. Sometimes that is the case, but not the case today. So I'm going to release this on Sunday, but I am recording it on Saturday after the draft. I mean, the kids are asleep. I'm still in draft mode. Hell, let's just knock it out and get it over with. But these are my personal grades, and I'm going to be upfront and honest right away. I feel in certain situations I'm being a little bit brutal, a little bit hard, but at the same time, it's hard to give out draft grades when your first pick comes in the third round. But what you got to do is you kind of got to grade sort of based on where they were picked, who was all available when they picked. So that's kind of how I'm going about this. So without further ado, let's jump into it because in the third round, the Miami Dolphins selected Channing Tindall, the linebacker out of Georgia. And my personal grade for this one, I'm going to give it a B. And I know there's probably some people out there already that are saying that's a little bit low. This dude's athletic as hell. He was on a national championship level defense. And I get all that. That's great. But I think, like I said, why I'm being a little bit harder on this one was I preferred Leo Chenal. Leo Chenal was the run thumper that the Dolphins kind of have in Landon Roberts, but he's a younger version, a more potential version, but he also can do the double A gap blitzing. He's probably better at that than Tindall. I just really fell in love with Leo Chenal throughout the draft process. So you give me Chenal, I'm probably giving it a B plus or an A minus, but since it was Tindall, going with a solid B. But he's a roamer. He's a schemed blitzer. He's a quarterback spy, just perfect for that. And the more I've thought about it, like over the last day or so, I'm kind of warming up to the pick because if you watch a little bit more of his film, now kind of translate that in your mind to what he can do against a team like the Bills. So many times after the snap, he's just playing that quarterback spy role. He's waiting to see how the quarterback is progressing with the play. And when he finds his chance to attack, his speed, his athleticism to get from where he is to the quarterback is phenomenal. Now do that with him in the Dolphins playing a team like the Bills with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a big guy. He's a fast guy. He's hard to get down. Well, Tindall is just as fast. And Tindall, when he hits, he brings the wood. That is perfect for going up against the quarterback, kind of like what we would see with Josh Allen. We're going to be seeing that at least twice a season for the foreseeable future. So I like that, but we talk about his negatives already or things he needs to work on. He's not great in coverage. He can get stuck on blocks. He takes some wrong steps. He gets a little bit bluffed by play action. But there's some things to work on, but there are a lot of things to like. So I'm going to be giving that selection a B. Now let's move on to the fourth round. Surprise pick. Erik Ezukanma, wide receiver, Texas Tech. I'm going to give this one a B minus, and this isn't necessarily indicative of him or his play, but just the fact that they took a wide receiver in the fourth round when wide receiver really wasn't that pressing of a need. You just traded for Tyreek Hill and gave him the most guaranteed money for a wide receiver in NFL history. You signed Cedric Wilson in free agency. You already have Lynn Bowden. You re-signed Preston Williams. You signed Trent Sherfield. You have Jalen Waddle, a second-year up-and-coming star in this league. So there was already depth on this team at wide receiver. I said this in the recap video I did of him. I wouldn't have minded a wide receiver in the seventh round. You're drafting a project at that point, kick the tires, see what you've got. But in the fourth round, when a lineman like Zach Tom was available, Pierre Strong was available, Isaiah Spiller had went the pick before, there were plenty of quality offensive linemen, running backs. Kyron Williams was still available. There were plenty of guys that were still available for this pick. So the fact that the Miami Dolphins, I don't even know that they necessarily went luxury. They really just truly went with the player they thought was best available. He provides a little bit of that Devontae Parker role that obviously is now gone, but we sort of thought, hey, that's where Preston Williams steps in. But at the same time, has Preston Williams really ever been healthy? That damn injury he had last year never seemed to go away. And the fact that he was an undrafted free agent a couple of years back The team really doesn't have much invested in him. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But now we've got a fourth rounder invested here. So that's clearly a guy that they like. They see him as a guy that maybe can carve out that role in the future. And I talked about this during his preview as well. Deebo Samuel role a little bit, maybe. Didn't have a ton of carries in college, but when he did, he averaged like 14 yards per carry. He had a couple of touchdowns. He's a big guy, but he's got decent speed, and he's got the ability to create once he has the ball in his hands. He's that yak guy. He's the yards after the catch guy. So I'm probably a little tough on this grade with a B minus, but I'm sticking with it just because I think that there were some other needs where you still could have gotten the same quality of player. Now we got to advance to the 7th round. I'll probably get through the 7th rounders a little bit quicker than I did the first ones, just because it's tough as a 7th rounder. You just look at the stats out there. Just to make the team as a 7th rounder in a lot of situations is pretty damn good. And speaking of good, Cameron Goode, boom, dad joke pun. Linebacker out of California. I'm going to be a little bit nicer on this one. I'm going to give him a B. This selection gets a B from me. And one of the biggest reasons, the Dolphins did their due diligence on this pick. They brought him in for a pre-draft visit. They liked what they saw. They picked him. It's literally as simple as that in some situations. We talked about it in his preview as well. He lacks the strength. He's not great physically with his hands, but the production has been there. A couple of years ago, I forgot which year it was. I think it might have been his junior season. The 14 tackles for losses, the damn near double-digit sacks. He has the production that's been there. It just hasn't always been that consistent. And I think every team basically kind of saw the similar flaws, the lack of strength, the lack of being physical with hands, the strengths that we see from a lot of these outside linebackers that a lot of them have that pop them up these draft boards. He is just lacking right now. So he's going to have to make it happen on special teams. He's going to have to flash a bit in camp. But hey, it was a position of need, and it's still a position that I would technically say that the Dolphins are a bit light at. So he'll have an opportunity to create a lane for himself, to create a name for himself. So I'm going to give it a B. The Dolphins did their due diligence on him. A lot of D's there prior to the draft, and they went with their guy. So one more 7th rounder here. I just did the video on him before this, so I feel like I'm double dipping real quick. But Skylar Thompson, quarterback out of Kansas State. I'm going to be a little bit tougher on this one. I'm going to give this grade a C minus. A C minus, not A, just a C minus. I can't hate the pick too much because it's the 7th round, but just give me a project player. Give me a project player at linebacker, at cornerback, at offensive line, at edge, versus a quarterback that, in a perfect world, he's probably going to end up on the practice squad. Tua Tagovailoa is your starter. Teddy Bridgewater is your backup. Skylar Moore is going to be competing to be the team's 3rd quarterback, likely at best. Do a lot of teams even carry 3 quarterbacks right now? We're seeing less and less of it as the years go on. So in my opinion, we're probably looking at a practice squad guy here. And you say, well, who the hell else was even available? Well, there was a player that went undrafted, Christopher Allen, edge rusher out of Alabama. He ended up signing as an undrafted free agent by the Broncos. He had a very nice season for the Crimson Tide 2 years ago. And then in last year, he got hurt in the first game. And he was already looking really good in that game. So I know that there are some medical hurdles that he would have to get over. There's probably some medical red flags. The teams know more about these prospects than you and I know about because they get to do the medical checks and all the history and everything on them. But I would have just rather liked a project in the 7th versus a quarterback that really, what's his future going to be with this team? Even if Tua flames out and just doesn't become the quarterback that me and you hope he is, hope he can be, is Skylar Thompson going to be the guy? My Tom Brady's don't just pop off in these late rounds every single year. It takes the ultimate outlier. I don't project Thompson as that outlier. So those are my draft grades. I'd be very curious to hear how you are grading these players as well. Go ahead, drop those in the comments. If you agree, if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and give this the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribing. But that's what we've got. Like I said, recorded this on Saturday, same old damn t-shirt that I wore pretty much all day, but recording it on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And then until next time, Dolphins fans, have yourself a good one.